Okay, welcome back to percentages. This is lesson 4 on finding a percentage of amount. Thank you for all the work you sent last lesson. This is your learning check. I'm just going to go through the answers before I start today's lesson. So to find 10% of 60, remember to find 10% you divide by 10. 20% will be double 6. 30%, I could add these two together to get 18. 50%, half of 60 is 30. 70%, well I could do 20 and 50 to get 42. 80%, I could do 70% and 10%, 42 add 6 is 48. That's just one way of doing it. There are lots of other ways of doing it, but these are the right answers. So I hope you got all that correct, and thank you for all the work that you sent to me. So lesson 4, write this in your book please, lesson 4. So we're going to carry on with percentages in this lesson, and the part A is, write this title down, about finding 5% of an amount. So I'm going to go straight ahead with an example. So I'm going to look at finding 5% of 200. Now, as we did in last lesson, we always start off with finding 10% of the number. So 10% of 200, what we do is we divide by 10. 200 divided by 10 is 20. Remember, to find 10%, remember the key fact is we divide by 10. Okay, so to get 5%, and I think probably some of you have already got the answer, how do I go from 10% to 5%? Well, I've got to half. I've got to divide by 2. So half of 20 is 10. So just recap that. I found 10% first, I divided by 10. Then to find 5%, I halved 10%. Right, okay, so let's have a go at one more of those before you do some on your own. Let's find 5% of 3,000. Well, we start off by finding 10%. To find 10%, I divide by 10. Now to find 5%, I half my answer. Okay. So you're going to have a go at these 3 questions. Remember, in each question, find 10% first and then 5%. Find 10% first, then 5%. 10% first, then 5%. So pause the video and have a go at those questions. Okay, so the first one. 10% of 800 is 80. So 5% will be half. 10% of 60 will be 6. So 5% will be half. Last one, 10% divided by 10 is 900. Half it to get 5%. Okay, so I hope you understand that. At any point you don't, just email me please for me to guide you. Right, part B, to find 25% of an amount. So write this in your books. Now, 25% is just a quarter, isn't it? Yeah? A quarter of the amount. How do we find a quarter of an amount? Well, we can find 50% and then half it. So how would we find a quarter or 25% of 80? Well, if we find 50% first, 50% of 80 is just half of it. And 25% we just half again, don't we? So half of 40 is 20. So half once to get 50%, half again to get 25%, because I'm finding a half and then I'm finding a quarter of the amount. Okay, so another example. I'm going to find 50% first. So 50% of 1,200, just half it. and then to find 25%, I half again. Okay, so I hope you got those key examples in your books. There's 3 to try now on your own. Okay, so pause the video, have a go at those 3 questions. Okay, first answer. So 50% will be half of 600, 25%, half it again. Use your bus stop method if you're not sure about halving. Divide by 2. So 50%, half 120, and 25%, half again. Okay, next one, 50%, going to half, and to find 25%, you're going to half again. Remember, if you're not sure about halving, we just look at this one, just use your bus stop method. 2 into 1 doesn't go, 2 into 14 goes 7, 2 into 0, 2 into 0. Right, let's see what we have got for part the next part of the lesson. I'm going to go straight on to, let's just do a quick recap. I mean, you could go straight to the end of the lesson now, but I'm just going to do a quick recap of what we did last lesson. Okay, a quick recap, or go straight to your work if you're confident with this. So, to find 30% of something, I find 10% first. I divide by 10, and to find 30%, 6 times 3 is 18. That's just a recap from last lesson. Right, so what I want you to do now, please, is turn to your booklet. You're going to now look at page 6 of your booklet. Okay, so you're going to look at page 6, which is finding 25% and 5% and other percentages. And what I would like you to do is questions 1 to 3 is your compulsory work. So on page 6, exercise 10D, and then optional extra work is the rest of page 7, questions 5 to 8. Okay, so optional work, questions 1 to 3. Sorry, compulsory work, questions 1 to 3. Okay, hope you have a good day.